So, cards on the table. I am the creator of the Hypnagogic Archive ARG. I tried to avoid saying it for as long as I possibly could, but this video is being filmed a couple hours after the news broke that I was in fact the creator of the Hypnagogic Archive ARG. It's going to be posted a couple days after, so here's the full story of how I created one of the most viral ARGs the internet has seen in quite some time. This is definitely my most successful project to date, and I wasn't planning on making this video quite so soon, but I think it's worth it. And you know, just a little behind the scenes for you here, so I'm gonna reveal the magic. If you don't want the magic of the archive spoiled for you, then click away in 3, 2, 1, here we go.
Lucky year, I got a nifty tape recorder for my birthday.
For your birthday.
Oh, yeah. Let me turn it on after I put my presents away.
Essentially, a while back I put out a video called The Alternate State Sequence about how he's planning on making a 5-faceted ARG immersive experience. The first facet of the alternate state sequence is the Hypnagogic Archive. I had no idea anyone would be able to really connect me to it, but you know, they found my video You Might Have Seen Me, which is pretty much like an introduction to the concept of the Hypnagogic Archive, and yeah, they found that, and I wasn't, you know, I was like shocked, like wow. But it only took a little while for them to find out all that old stuff that so ugly, like people just hating on my comics and me, and you know, a big controversy. So I hopped on and talked with them, and they're really decent people. And I know some of you are watching this. It's great to know that you've had a fun time playing my alternate reality game that I've set up. Like I said, I wasn't planning on revealing myself as who made it. I'm filming this now because I want my reaction to be kind of genuine, that your sleuthing skills are really good. You're really good at figuring stuff out. I just had to get in there and clear my name because they were still talking about that stuff from Reddit, that really like ugly, angry, hateful stuff, and you know, I'm sick of people writing my own narrative for me. You know, you know, you can think what you want about me, who I am, what my beliefs are, but at the end of the day, history will decide who I really am, and you know what my whole purpose is, and all that jazz. I think it was very illuminating. It was very revealing and very like refreshing to hear from so many people. The Hypnagogic Archive has like over 2,000 subscribers. That's more attention than I could possibly have anticipated, because I put the thing together thinking, you know, maybe this will get like 500 subscribers. It's already at like 2,500, probably more by the time this is posted. It's gone absolutely insane-o viral. Well, you know, 1,000, 2,000 or whatever subscribers might not seem that big to someone who's big, but keep in mind, I've been stuck at like 400 for like 3 years at this point here on my main channel. It was so crazy to see after Wendigoon's video came out. Oh yeah, also, thanks Wendigoon. You have good taste in ARGs. A little bit after Wendigoon's video came out, and it was already like, there was like 10,000 views just in the first day alone. And I've never dealt with that type of exposure before, so I was kind of nervous joining the fans and telling them that I was the creator. In fact, I didn't even plan on saying that. I initially just planned on dispelling like the, you know, rumors and saying like totally fake. But then someone said, you should just come out because we want to know what we're supporting. And that's true. People do have a right to know what they're supporting. So I was like, okay, all right, I'll come out and say it. I'm behind this. And you know, it sucks to put all my cards on the table like that. Originally, I was planning on releasing a video on the Hypnagogic Archive channel after all this is over, where I like come out and, you know, it's on VHS and I'm like, hey, I have a book here. I'm the new owner and operator of the Hypnagogic Archives, and I have a book of all the stories from the Hypnagogic Archives. And while I will be making that book and I will still be adding it onto the Nicholas Comics catalog, they were like, if this is all just leading up to being an ad for his comics or something, it'll be disappointing. And I have to agree, so I'm not going to make that video anymore, like an ad for the Hypnagogic Archive book, mainly because you don't even really need to buy it. All the stories and stuff are free online. Also just because that's the same criticism that was leveled against The Door, obviously to a much smaller scale because The Door never really took off. But because, you know, I think an ARG should stand on its own merits, and I never want anyone confusing one of these ARGs I put out with like, oh, he's just trying to make money, he's just trying to sell comics, because that's never the main goal with these. I'm trying to tell a really interesting story that I think should be told, and I'm not about money, you know. I don't care if I sell any of the Hypnagogic Archive books. I hope I do, and I'm sure some people will send in for them just to check them out. They're really cool, or they will be really cool. They're not released yet, but yeah, they are really cool, and I do look forward to that. But, you know, I just thought I should come out up front about that. I'm not going to reveal exactly what the story of the Hypnagogic Archive is in this video, because you should go and find it out for yourself. However, I am going to reveal what I think was the secret sauce that propelled this game into virality. A was, of course, the authentic VHS visuals, because a lot of ARGs just use a VHS filter. And I thought, I have a VCR, I have a CRT TV, why not hook them up, put some crazy material on them? And that was kind of the main impetus. Make an ARG that really felt like real and a lot more immersive and vibrant than a lot of these analog horror series. I should probably note that I believe the luck of the Hypnagogic Archive was for the most part a fluke. Like, sure, the videos are great and the writing is great, but it was a very slow burn with a very heavy advertising campaign, and I tried as hard as possible to keep going, even though there was no attention being given to the project. I had to release a new story or release a new video every single month just to get some eyes on it. And I even made an episode that never officially got uploaded because it had my Howdy Doody doll, and then I put Howdy Doody in another of my main normal videos, and I was like, oh shit, someone's going to connect the dots. And I tried to be as meticulous as possible in covering up my identity as the creator of this. Obviously, you might have seen me kind of ruins that, because it's like the smoking gun. It's like, yeah, this is the same story. But here's some footage from the lost Howdy Doody episode that never really made it.
Howdy Doody, man or myth?
My second motivation was, of course, to be more psychological than, you know, gimmicky or flashy. All the visuals are practical. You know, it's edited in Windows Movie Maker, gives it a nice old-timey feel. And I think psychological horror is just a really underrated subgenre of horror. It's hard to gather my thoughts. I'm so, like, scatterbrained, because this is more attention than I could ever have possibly asked for, and seriously, thank you for it. It's so good to see people enjoying my stories and art and stuff. It means the world to me, it really does. In part, the Hypnagogic Archives was kind of inspired by David Cronenberg's masterpiece, Videodrome, which I'd have to say is probably one of my favorite sci-fi horror movies.
Come to me. Come to Nicky.
Every analog horror series owes Videodrome a debt of gratitude, because it's really the first movie to ask the question, you know, what if you caught this weird transmission coming in at like 3 a.m.? Wouldn't that be scary? And every analog horror series tries to capture a similar vibe to Videodrome, I feel. So if you're a fan of analog horror and you haven't seen Videodrome, check Videodrome out. In his initial video, Windigoon compared this to The Twilight Zone. I, for one, would compare it more to The Outer Limits. For one, because The Outer Limits intro is a precursor to analog horror, even before Videodrome. I've said this, but the opening with the control voice is one of the earliest examples of people using like broadcast media and manipulating it and saying, you know, something crazy is going on here. Hypnagogic Archive is also a lot more schlocky than something like Twilight Zone, which of course has moral lessons. I would compare Hypnagogic Archive to The Outer Limits personally, an Outer Limits for the internet age. Obviously, it explores the themes of media preservation, nostalgia, the passage of time, as it were. The characters of the others are in effect like, you know, goofy movie monsters from the 1950s who object to the preservation of archival material. And as a huge VHS fan myself, and a big proponent of physical preservation of media, because I think this current generation is very like afraid of the past, afraid of looking at old things or old VHS tapes, and essentially the story is about knowledge being dangerous, about the preservation of knowledge being, you know, life-threatening. Which of course is a joke. It's a big satire of people who object to the preservation of VHS. Yeah, kind of like Reefer Madness, which is ironically one of the first videos. You know, there's, you know, Rocket's Your Decision, or one of those propaganda pieces. A Hypnagogic Archive is a satiric take on what would happen if storing a bunch of VHS tapes was actually dangerous. Because there really is nothing to be scared of with VHS tapes. They're a fantastic format, and they're really good for storytelling. I think with this series I've proven that like authentic VHS, you just can't match it. Like there's something about it that just looks and feels so cool. And to be working with all this VCRs and CRT TVs and static, and man, it's just so much fun. It's so cool. And it's really given me a creative outlet. So of course a lot of hard work is involved, and it's very important to put narrative first, and also it's very important, I feel, not to plan everything out too heavily beforehand. At least not in my case. For some people that might be helpful. I'm kind of making this video as some advice on how to make a successful ARG, but I mainly just came up with the concept first and then organically released new material and new plot points, and it all kind of fell into place for me. It all just kind of started making sense, if that makes sense. If it seems like the writing and everything was very organic, that's because it was, because I'm just capable of coming up with stuff kind of on the spot. I can finish a story in like under a day, you know, and it's like, I'm really good at writing. I can write like 5,000 words in one day, and you do need to have some real like writing and videography talent to make an ARG like this. The third aspect of Hypnagogic Archive, which I believe set it apart from a lot of other ARGs, was of course the suspension of disbelief, the narrative disconnect. That I was Ellis. For a week I was Ellis, and I replied to everyone as Ellis, and I said I was Ellis, but I pretty much am Ellis. I mean, I'm a VHS nut. The Hypnagogic Archive is, of course, a very meta and very, like, morally complex series. It asks the questions between, you know, do you side with Ellis because he's human and he's technically advocating for the preservation of history, which is an important goal, or identify with the others because they're technically, you know, being hurt, and they're like, you know, time is being thrown off by how much time is being preserved in VHS tapes. It's some heady stuff. The main thing is I put the story of Hypnagogic Archive first and foremost over the look of it. You know, I put the story first because I think it's a very interesting story to tell that I haven't seen anyone else tell. Like, that's why all the stories on Hypnagogic Archive are so well written, because I was kind of in a lucid fever dream while I was typing these out. I was like, oh yeah, it's all just falling into place. my head just works like full speed. I mean, I don't mean to brag or anything, but like, it is bizarre to see one of your things get this overwhelming like response, just an explosion of attention after like 3 years of practically being completely off the radar. But it's exciting. And I knew that when I went on the Hypnagogic Archive's Discord and told them like that I was behind it, because they pretty much insisted I did, and I felt it was unfair not to tell them, you know, considering that they deserve to know, because they're fantastic people. I told them that I was behind it, and they're like, okay. And to those of them that stayed, that stuck around with it, I guarantee it's going to get even cooler from here on out. Now, I just feel incredibly lucky, and I knew that if I kept it up, if I kept going, kept doing it, eventually something of mine, some project of mine would be really, really successful. I oversaturated the market, made sure that nobody could ignore the incredible stuff I was putting out, and it looks like it paid off. I could just quit here and now that the jig is up, but that's not. I've never been a quitter. I understood when I came out as the creator of Hypnagogic Archives, this is nothing new. I've been down this track 100 times already, dispelling myths about who I am and what I'm all about, and I've been down here already. You know, this time it's just addressing like 1,000 people instead of 10. This is so exciting, and I have some fun stuff planned up ahead. I'm going to finish this story exactly how I planned on finishing it, and it's going to be so satisfying when all the pieces just like click into place. Yeah, I am motivated. You people have motivated me to create some fun stuff, and it's great to know that, you know, my faith in the potential of the internet as a method of communication has been restored. There are some of you who will like be turned off. You know, now that you know I'm behind it, I understand that is like a turnoff to some people. Some people just, I guess, you know, just don't like me or my comics, and if you don't, then you have every right not to. I can't control what you like and what you don't like, but to those of you who are sticking around and enjoying my content, I guarantee it's only going to get way more fun from here, so just stick around. Yeah, it's going to be so cool. And this is just like this is my most successful project ever, and I'm gonna end this video with a little lost media challenge, because I think it is important to mention this, right? The story Joyce was inspired by an old video I remember seeing. It was like a top 10 creepiest, you know, internet videos or something. Given how the Hypnagogic Archive is about lost media, I think it's important to bring your attention to some lost media that I think is worth finding. The first one is the one that inspired Joyce. It's this lady who broke into a house and filmed herself. If I remember correctly, she was blonde and wearing a white shirt. So the picture on Joyce isn't from the video that inspired Joyce. But she videotaped herself breaking into this couple's home, hid the tape where she knew they'd find it, and then they did find it. And the tape itself is really creepy. It's completely silent, I think, and she's like lip-mouthing or something. She's saying something to the camera. That video gave me the chills, and I can't find it. So if you could find it, that's one of the videos that I'm encouraging you to go out and look for as part of kind of like a side project to this, because Hypnagogic Archive is about lost media, and I find the subject of lost media fascinating because as much as the internet might brand itself as something which can preserve everything that's ever been made, it's literally impossible to convert every VHS tape ever onto the internet, right? Lost media is very interesting. I think it's important to just find some weird VHS tapes and sit down and look at them. And that's what the main motivation throughout this project has been, to kind of, get people interested in VHS and VHS collecting and VHS, just go down to your local thrift store and check it out. It's amazing what you can find on VHS. The other video, and this is the big one, this is the one that I'd really be interested in some of you out there looking for. It's the video that inspired Don't Look Up at the Fan. That's a real video. I remember it vividly. I know it existed. It might have been the intro to a movie. I don't remember if like the tape ends, but for the most part that story is exactly how I described it. Like that's exactly how it was. That was, when I saw that video, I had to have been like 1 or 2, so my memory of it obviously is very flawed, but it was on a VHS tape. And when I saw how that fan was framed, you know, normally you don't think of a fan like that as a threat. But when I saw how it was framed, that was my first real exposure to how using direction, using camera work and cinematography, you can really like make something that otherwise isn't threatening appear threatening. And I just think that's amazing. Like, you know, the way you can use a camera to make something seem way scarier than it really is through the use of editing and camera tricks and the like. And that more than anything else, I think, is really the inspiration behind this. It could be that if I had never seen that video, I never would be as interested in like creepy stuff as I am now, but that's a fantastic video. And if someone out there could find it, if you can find either of these videos and send them to my email at incicada119@gmail.com, I'd be very interested. And tell you what, I'll send you a copy of either the Hypnagogic Archive's album, which there's only one copy of it. It's not online. It's just on tape. It's just on tape because I have a blank cassette tape. And I'm not even going to sell that. But it's a fun little collectible. It's like exclusive songs about the Hypnagogic Archive, by yours truly, of course. Or I'll send you a free copy of the Hypnagogic Archive's book, which also has some stories, a lot of other stories, a lot of like, you know, it's pretty much like a chronological retelling of the Hypnagogic Archive stories in order. It's not out yet. It'll be out once I finish all the stories in Hypnagogic Archive and compile them. But in essence, yeah, you can win either of those or both, or, you know, just tell me what you want if you find either of those 2 clips. Because I think it's cool to find lost media. That's kind of the motivation behind this whole project. That, and of course the desire to tell a really, really fun, entertaining sci-fi horror story about some spooky goings on. So yeah, I admitted it to the entire Hypnagogic Archive's fan base, and now I'm admitting it to you. Obviously there's probably some overlap to everyone out there who's still solving Hypnagogic Archive. How's it going? It's not ending anytime soon. It's going to keep going. It's going to tie in with other stories I've got planned. I am so excited. I am just so thrilled. When I saw that people had found out it was me, I was nervous at first because, you know, I think alternate reality games do depend on suspension of disbelief and narrative disconnect, and you shouldn't like you just use it to promote your work or whatever. But they found it out, and good for them, and it's going to be fun. And I hope this doesn't ruin anyone's, like, you know, immersion or anything. Just don't watch this video if you, or I guess you've already watched it. It's great to know that you appreciate my story. Props to Wendigoon especially for like analyzing my work. It's so satisfying to know that my work is for once analyzed and enjoyed as, like, you know, having merit, because it really does. And everyone who said that my work doesn't have potential, look who's talking now. Look who's laughing now. I've just created one of the biggest, like, ARGs. It's got 2-hour-long videos dedicated to it, and more to come, I'm sure. And I don't want to brag, because again, it's not about like getting money for me or making me successful or anything. It's just a really fun story, and that's what I'm all about, you know, just telling fun sci-fi horror mumbo jumbo concepts and ideas, and it just all floats around in my head. I just have to put it out there. I just have to put these cool ideas out there. And it's great to know that, you know, some people have faith in me and they're willing to see this project go forward, and it's going to be fun. I'm so excited. I've just had butterflies in my stomach for a week straight, you know, wondering when are people going to find out it's me, and now they have, and that's exciting, you know. It's really exciting to know that people have found out it's me, and yeah, here I am. Some people thought that the ARG literally had like a team of people behind it, because it's just so much stuff to look at and have fun with, and it's been like a year in the making, so it's going to heat up. It's going to get really cool from here. So just, yeah, stay tuned. And I control the horizontal and I control the vertical, and I'm just thinking about, you know, just like all this stuff, and it's going to be so much fun. I'm glad you enjoy, and seriously, thank you. My confidence in the internet as a means of communication is restored. It's great to know that there are some reasonable people out there who do their research, sleuth through it, check things out, really dig into the stuff that's cool, and, you know, for that, like, yeah, good job. Yeah, I've been rambling on for quite some time. Remember the challenge: if you find either of those videos, you get a cool prize, a one-of-a-kind cool prize, Hypnagogic Archive stuff. But again, I don't want to like say buy the Hypnagogic Archives book or anything, because I'm not even sure about that yet. It's not done, and I'm so excited to see what I can do here. You know, just I'm gonna keep pushing through. I'm gonna keep doing it. Gonna keep going, and stay tuned. You ain't seen nothing yet. Frick yeah, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be really cool.